know what it is, pimp. TIP, king of the motherfucking South.
BG's, let's do it, homie.
Grand hustle, pimp.
Chopper City in here.
Got my nigga blocking this bitch. East side represent. West side bankhead, nigga. Zone 1, A-Town, nigga. You know what it is. Zone 3, Mechanicsville, Summer Hill, nigga. Pittsburgh. All my real niggas ride out. Y'all know what's happening. PSC, nigga.
Hey, I can give you what you want. TIP the hottest game, what you need. I can tell you all about it. You can come up in the streets, but it ain't no getting at it. Wanna tell you I'm a G pimp, really being modest. I can tell you about the dope boy, hoes and the ballers, the pimps and the max, real niggas what they call us. Hanging in the traps, cause that's what a daddy taught us. From feathers on the lag to a Benz on brawlers. Standing on the corner, slanging crack and stacking dollars till it's time to cop a brick. I'm tired of moving crawlers. My daddy want a doctor, and my mama want a lawyer. I ain't never had shit. Congratulations and all. Trying to get a meal for my sons and my daughter. If I caught a bad bitch, with connections down the floor. Say a daddy and a uncle still get across the wall. Reaching out, I be a motherfucking fool if I don't call.
Hey, what it is, my nigga, what it do? Hey, what it do? I got a brick or two, what's a move? What's a move? Hey, what it is, my nigga, what it do? Hey, what it do? I got a tool and I'm gonna cut the food. Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? What it do?
All right, goddammit, cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off. It's not off yet. I'm sorry. How y'all doing on Thursday? I needed that to play. I needed that out there. Big ass titties, whatever else I'll be saying on here. I just needed that to set the tone of the day, of the evening, of whenever you listen to this. Because just recent shit or whatever. I think people are clearly, I guess, still doing the versus thing. But I've been seeing T.I. out here, and he been wanting a lot of smoke with good old Curtis. It's Clifford and Curtis, man. Clifford and Curtis in the backyard fighting again. And and it's cool. And it's great. Like, and this is not taken away from 50, saying that 50, like, this not even saying that T.I. would, like, smoke Fifth or anything like that. All I'm saying is I've just been seeing a lot of weird commentary, like T.I. don't have hits, like T.I. don't just got bangers off in the tuck, and I'm not understanding. It's not making sense, and I just wanted that out there. I just feel like I didn't even touch, like, that right there. That wasn't even, like, I guess a quote unquote, like, pushed out there single, but, like, y'all heard that shit. Y'all heard, like, get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. Like, fucking, it was BG was on this shit. Like, all I'm saying is I just feel like we're not like, hang on, like, BG, dog. What's wrong with y'all?
Slipping on the block and knock you off. I know people. I get nice deals. Get them $5.
Cut it off. Fucking shit. Cut it off. Y'all don't. I don't know who's out there saying that. I just saw too many comments. Under, whatever you think of the man's gynecology practice. We're not here for that. I'm just here to talk about the man's ability musically, okay? His knowledge or whatever of how vaginas work and so on, and so that's not what we're here for. That is not what the fuck we're here for. We are here to just simply discuss that in a versus between T.I., Clifford, T.I., TIP. It's two versus one. Like, you gotta go from T.I. and TIP verse 50. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying 50 ain't got bangers. I'm not saying 50 doesn't have hits. I'm just saying is that we should put a little more respect. Just put a little sprinkle. Just put a little sprinkle on this man's just contributions to hip hop and music. That's all I was trying to get out there. That's all I was trying to get across. If you were unaware, I would implore you to just take a trip down memory lane, back, even before, it was shiny suits and awkward dances to hey, like before that, I remember Rubber Band Man, okay? And it was very impactful, okay? So all I'm trying to say is that's what I'm saying, is that we just, let's let's just, don't fuck around with it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, from a purely musical hip hop perspective, from a hip hop stance, T.I. has done a lot of good work, and I feel like people just, and I don't understand how, actually. Like, I don't know the numbers, anything like that. I just know niggas was dropping albums. I was buying them. Like, back when back when people were like buying albums, like physical copies and shit. But yeah, I don't know. I just happen to see like just so much, like, I'm like, damn, nigga, like, I ain't 100 years old. Like, I don't know. I know like shit. What's that? Like, I know. I guess everything like ages as fast as, say, technology ages, and I forget the numbers on that. But like every, I don't know, 15 farts, like a new fucking technological thing comes out. So I guess that would like translate to music and culture and shit. And I know like everybody's like, what is it, like the microwave culture? So I know to a certain group of people, T.I. is like the hip hop dad or whatever, and the reality TV show dude, and so on and so forth. Like all these other things that he's into, like business wise, movie wise. But fuck that, dog. Like, like T.I. was dropping hits. That's all I'm saying. Like Fifth too. I'm not saying Fifth should be slept on, because I feel like, because I don't even know like Fifth's whole. I always do this like I don't have a computer, but I'm not looking it up because I'm lazy. But Fifth dropped like mad fucking shit too. I know people like just focus on like the big hits or the big albums, and I think Fifth's career like just like took off into like superstardom across a bunch of different levels. But even him, 50 to some people might be like the internet troll dude or the fucking, I don't know, liquor dude or power obviously. But yeah, I'm not saying I really don't know who would full out win. I feel like if we're going off just pure numbers and maybe like, see, I don't know how these verses work, because I feel like everybody's like rules are different. But I feel like there was a good number of years, because I think T.I. posted some shit about that. But I feel like there was a good amount of years where 50 just wasn't dropping music because he was doing like everything the fuck else. Like he was fucking vitamin water and becoming like a multi-millionaire and that shit, and then movies, and I don't know, hanging out with Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro and doing movies with them both, because why not, nigga? I'm a fucking boss. And I feel like during that time, like, Tip was dropping albums. So I feel like if we're doing it purely numbers, then it probably would lean towards T.I. Who's a hip-hop historian? Like, anybody out there, whenever you hear this, if you know a thing about a thing, Keith says it depends on if you're from the East or the South. I mean, but okay, if that's the case, are we doing it? Is it numbers, like the amount of like hits or records, or just the impact this person had on that fucking group or that area? Because then shit, that's the case. Shit, it's a bunch of niggas who just like dropped a song or album. If that's the case, shit, the niggas who made all the jerk shit would have to, somebody got to verse them. I don't want that. I don't want that out there though. I want them to keep that to themselves. Like if somebody's like putting that together, please stop. Don't do that. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know the parameters behind these verses shits. Like, is it just the amount of hits? Did you just have a hit? Your impact on the culture? Because I don't even know how you do a verses on cultural impact. If it's music though, I feel like, how do I say? I feel like T.I. might have more bullets, or like a gun with more bullets, but Fifth might have like a fucking bazooka. Like he might. I don't need a lot of shots, nigga. I just need this bitch to land, because once I play this shit, like the whole fucking club shut down. I don't know. I really, really don't. But all I'm saying is, put some respect on Clifford's name. Clifford. What happened? Oh, I'm about to say, did you have to kick it? I was like, that's going to be some powerful shit. That's powerful. I mean, it's impressive, too. If you headbutted the door open, oh, nigga, that's going to be a tagline for the show. Like, we have we have great content, and we'll, like, fuck your shit up. Because,
when you ask just to put the head in, that's what's coming.
A headbutt? I think, honestly, like, I'm a peaceful person, folks. Let's preface this. I really think a headbutt is a really slept on. Like, niggas are just nobody ever sees a headbutt coming. Not that I've ever used it, but from what I've seen in films, nobody ever sees a headbutt coming. Like,
allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
niggas always want to just fight like on World Star.
That's because they don't know how to do a headbutt right. A lot of people headbutt wrong, and that's what makes it hurt. And then they just like, I don't want to do this no more.
Man, niggas just never.
If you do it right,
what the fuck is that? That's called a broke nose, bitch.
Right.
It's called crying, and now we just
from
what I've seen, I don't know.
Yes, no. Simply speculation. We don't know this firsthand at all.
Okay, yeah, I was in here ranting a bit, but it's I guess whatever.
No, rant on.
Have you seen the T.I. like shooting at 50 about the whole versus thing and whatnot and like?
I kind of saw it, but I couldn't get past his beard.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't understand. Like, I'm regular. Like, I go to work. But, like, you niggas got, like, live-in barbers and shit. Like, I see how Kevin Hart living. I don't understand y'all. But that's beside the point. I just feel like I saw in the comments, and I'm not saying who would win necessarily, but I saw in the comments, and I feel like, maybe, generations jump between every 15 minutes and don't nobody know what happened last hour. But everybody was just like, fucking 50 would smoke T.I. And I was like, wait a minute, nigga, like, he might win, but I'm like,
yeah, no, I don't know about smoking no boots. And I love Fit. I love the whole G-Unit era. That was part of our upbringing. I remember, fucking going nuts in 9th grade. Like, this nigga used gunshots as the beats. Like,
amazing.
I was hyping it up.
Like, I remember, like, the phenomenon. Like, I'll give 50 Cent was a fucking phenomenon. Like, my whole household shut down when 50 Cent. Well, I was like, all right, cool. But
How to Rob and All, I had that when it came out originally.
But, like, I remember vivid lines. I was like, nigga, what's the, like, fuck all this shooting shit, nigga. It's pussy pumping in the room, nigga. Like,
look,
shit. What
24s was my shit for a mighty long time.
Nigga, I was like, this is when niggas had just found out, like, Tip was doing things for the culture, for my life. I figured out pussy was important, and then that nigga gonna drop some shit like Get Loose, like, oh, nigga,
right.
You and me and Nelly in this bitch.
Like I said, I'm going even back before that. I'm going him and Beanie Man. I'm serious. Like,
see, I'm just saying. My thing is, I just said before you walked in the door, I was just like, look, I feel like. Plus, there was a time when like 50, became like a fucking megastar. So we're doing movies, and I want to say T.I. like mentioned that he's like, I got a good such amount of time where you wasn't even dropping shit, nigga, and I got fire, and I'm like, okay. I feel like he might have a point. Like, I feel like 50 still might have like a fucking 12 gauge or a bazooka. Like, I don't need a lot of shots, nigga. I need to let this bitch land anywhere, and we got a problem. But I do feel like Tip got like a lot of shit in the tuck that niggas were sleeping on.
Not even that. The whole conversation of being the king. Like, I remember when they had Source Magazine, when they was making an issue out of him saying he was the king, and certain people had an issue with it in the South and some people didn't. Like, they wrote whole articles because he came out saying, I'm the king, and everybody was trying to figure out how that was going to. So he created an uproar himself, regardless of what 50 was doing. I'm not saying that to say that he would completely demolish 50 or vice versa. It would probably be a decent battle, even though they are two completely different audiences. So that's kind of not a good matchup in the scheme of verses. But,
yeah, I would definitely not say anybody's finna smoke the other. Like, you might win.
Not at all. Yeah, you might win, but I can't say you going. I mean, a lot of people saying that fucking Fab was gonna smoke Jada, and here we are.
That didn't happen
at all.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah,
I mean, it could have been a whole lot different, but I think they was both like, because we buddies, I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Or at least Fab was, and Jada was like, you my nigga now, but
yeah,
I need this notoriety.
Yeah, like Jada was like, it was like, like I came up when like rap was like really evil, nigga. Like,
we are competitors.
Yeah, like, I love you to death, man. I kiss your mother, but I'm finna fucking murk you on this
I'm about
goddamn
to
track.
Destroy you.
Yeah,
but I could like just I can understand from that standpoint, going back to Jada and Fab. Fab has the fan base. Fab has the notoriety and respect all over within the rap game. Jada has the closeted support and the notoriety as far as New York is concerned. So he had to come out and fire off, even if that's your homeboy, because I need the world to see that I'm better than you thought I was, and that my catalog is better than you've given me credit for. That's probably within the same regards of 50 and T.I. Like, T.I., they both have worldwide notoriety, but one is like, you look at 50, it's like, damn, 50, and you look at T.I. and be like, T.I.'s had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need, as T.I., I need to come at 50 so people can understand that I've accomplished just as much, if not more, than he has. You may have looked at some of his major moves with the vitamin water and everything like that, but I've made major moves too, and I got bread like he got bread, and I got a catalog that's respectful, respected just like his catalog is respected. So it's like I have to antagonize you to get the world to understand that I need my flowers. You got yours. You got bouquets, nigga. I need flowers.
Yeah, like 50 shit is, I don't know. 50 shit is like Teflon, because 50 continuously just be like, I respect it only in the sense of like, I aspire to have the ability to just say whatever and just walk straight through it. 50 don't apologize
for nothing.
50 just say shit. Like,
I want to thank me.
What was this shit? Like, even this week, 50 just flat out, and I saw the internet and I saw like it get mad, but in my mind I was like, this is not gonna move. Like,
at all.
50 said, the whole, what was it like? It was something along the lines of, when talking about women, you like them to be more exotic, and
right.
And I was like, I saw people try to stoke that fire, and I was like, that's not the nigga. Like, I'm not disagreeing with y'all in any way. I'm just saying, if it's a nigga y'all want to crucify,
50 does not.
He don't care.
Don't give a damn.
Like, nigga, like, I said what I said.
I said what I said, and just to make you mad, I'm gonna go get 2 quote unquote exotic women just so you can see that I don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah. For you slow learners, like, I'm championing just the ability to say what you want to say. I don't agree with Fifth one bit on that shit, but
right, yeah, we can. That's a whole nother conversation when it comes to quote unquote exotic women and whatnot. But
it's not a thing, y'all. Like,
it's really not. And it was a conversation between 2 dudes that,
yeah,
they clearly have some sort of preference.
He said, to a degree, I only watched the clip, I didn't watch the full thing. He said to a degree, like, you've been in the hood X amount of, all this shit kind of touches shit I know we've talked about, but it's like, he's like, you've been in the hood this so and so, and you dealt with this type of whatever, and that's just a blanket, like, all black women are this that I've dealt with in this such and such block radius, and I want something exotic and new.
Right.
Some of that shit, like, a lot of that shit is not exotic and new. Like, that's folded up in you niggas' perceptions.
Most definitely.
Yeah, like, oh, this culture of women will, shine my shoes and shit, or
like,
whatever.
It's a quote unquote exotic chick that stays like 4 apartments down from the hood chick that you're used to seeing. It's just, one you may see more often than others, but it is what it is. But hey, what do we know? Especially in New York, because there's no quote unquote exotic women in New York at all. There's just nothing but hood chicks and white people, right?
You niggas is wild, bro. It just
like, there's so many different cultures everywhere, especially in a major city like New York. So that's why I don't ride with what 50 was saying. It's like, you seeing the same thing in New York is going to be a multitude of cultures. It's going to be some Latin Caribbean type chick, some black chick, maybe a sprinkle of some mixture of whatever somewhere. Like, you're not just seeing,
I'ma fuck with you.
Right. You may see certain attitudes. You for sure will see certain attitudes, but as far as cultures, it's like, all right.
Not to mention, like, you fuck around and start digging in that pot, like, y'all just is, oh shit, your landmass different or whatever. It just gets, I don't know, man. Y'all niggas just gotta stop saying shit. Just, I don't know, like, I'm on the platform, all I do is say shit. I just feel like, damn, you niggas be just saying shit. It's weird.
I mean, when you don't have to be accountable for your words because you are fuck you rich, then I guess
that's true.
You can say stuff like that to where you don't have to worry about the repercussions. Because everybody within a certain tax bracket has to be accountable for their words and their actions, except for people that are fuck you rich.
Yeah, 50 is like, cause some of these, what was that shit? That clip, even like Charlamagne posted, it was like, there's wealthy and then there's rich. Like, 50 is in a fucking wild tax bracket where it's like, yo, dog, like, I cut all this shit off, and like, I'll never have to see y'all again,
and won't worry about a goddamn thing.
Yeah, like, you could, I don't know, like, yeah, you could press the line on, like, insert whatever rapper, and not to take away, but if you like talking about, I don't know, I was listening to a song earlier today, it had Lil TJ on it. Like, you could press probably Lil TJ to be like, maybe. I don't know the man. I'm just saying, like, a name.
Right.
But 50 is like, dog, I will cut the world off and move to like a 1/4 inch of Morocco and like never talk to you niggas again. Like,
and I'll make a TV show about it, and your diss song will be the intro song to my TV show, and millions will watch it, and then I still won't give a fuck.
Yeah,
because I can.
And 50 did like this brilliant thing of like making, I don't know, like living and being like, I'm the villain and I'm cool with that. Like if you like, not to say you just should go out and like fuck with people, but everybody be playing like I'm a really altruistic good person and they use that against you. 50, like I don't give a fuck. Like I've never gave a fuck and I'm here to piss the bullshit off and I'm still rich. And they gave me shows, and I was still an ass. Like, there's nothing you niggas can do.
Right. That's why I like 50 so much, because when he embodies what I feel like my favorite wrestler growing up was Stone Cold. Like, even when he was the baby face, I'm still an asshole, and I don't give a fuck. Whether I'm the baby face or whether I'm the heel, I'm still considered a heel. It's just, am I a hated heel or a lovable heel? 50 is the exact same thing. Like, am I a lovable heel or a hated heel? And really, it doesn't matter. I'm still a heel, and I'm still getting paid. So what do you have to say about that? Yeah. Nothing. Because even if you do say something, I'm too rich to hear you.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. There's clearly an ability to appreciate or just, take things from things, regardless if they're bad or evil. You can maybe try to find, substance in that. Unless you're Deshaun Jackson, where you probably shouldn't, or
because he's not fuck you rich.
Yeah.
Even if you are saying something that's not 100% inaccurate, you're still not fuck you rich. So you have to be accountable to somebody for what you're saying.
Yeah. Also, when I looked at what he did and how he like posted it, I just always be like, man, like I'm not never telling nobody not to say what they want to say, but
right.
I'd be like, bro, you could have like 5 more minutes. You could have like just prefaced this. Like they just be like, "Oh, learn some shit," which I know we talked about.
We are glad that you learned it, and we're glad that you are trying to share it. But for those that may not have your zeal when it comes to learning new information, you gotta provide a little bit of context, especially again when you don't have fuck you money.
Man, because you could just tell. Like I'm like, okay. And nobody is championing any anti-Semitism, but like, okay, like I see where you might have been trying to go.
Right.
But also, I'm like, bro, like it would have taken you no time to even write a caption or.
I mean, he posted it in a story, which means you don't have the ability to write that large of a caption, but that kind of shows your point. Like, ooh.
Yeah, he just
I'm going to post this real quick.
He said, bang. Like, okay.
And that's just it. And then they just left it alone, which is completely fine to people that know and understand, get the point, and are even privy to the information that you are presenting. But for those that aren't, or those that don't want to be, or those you have to be accountable to, like said group that was mentioned in your post that kind of pay your bills, you got to be a little bit smarter in that. Not to say, again, say whatever you want, spread all types of information as long as it's factual. Yeah. But at the same time, you do have to be accountable to what you're saying. Like, we're on the Good News Network, right? Black owned. If we were 2 white guys that had a podcast on a black network and we started speaking against black people, that would be highly stupid. Like, highly, highly stupid. When there's white people that are giving us an opportunity to share our platform. I mean, black people that are giving us an opportunity to share our platform and we're speaking against them. Even though I don't think he was really speaking against them, but I can understand how they will take it that way and feel a little bit perturbed.
Yeah, see, that's why, like, when I saw him do it, I'm like, you can't. Now, if you wanted to, I'm even all for, even though I know that takes work, I'm all for dropping some shit so motherfuckers go, rada, rada, rada. But then after that post, you should have sat your ass down and said, now, let's discuss what I posted.
Right.
If you really wanted to get that off. But if you weren't, or if you're not ready to have that lengthy of a conversation, then you should hold that picture before, so you can get well informed, because this is my point of view from boom, 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 boom. But if you can't do that, then you really should do, because now it just looks like you just said, Hitler said a great thing. One, like you had Hitler.
Right.
You can't start off with,
right.
Hey man, Hitler.
People are automatically just triggered.
If you gonna come out and say Hitler had a point, bitch, you better have some real. All right, strap in. Hey, strap in. Wait. I can explain. If you can't do that, then you should have.
I mean, like you see people get upset for saying Trump had a point. Like Kanye got crucified because he said Trump had a point, and Trump is nowhere. Well, no, Trump isn't as bad as Hitler. I was going to say he's nowhere near as bad as Hitler, but I wanted to. He's not Hitler.
Nah,
not outright.
No, I remember I had like a buddy in high school, and like he was, I think, ahead of the curve a bit when it comes to just reading up on shit that everybody else would be like, no. He's like, clearly the nigga's like a terrible person, but he's like,
Right.
he's a great orator, and like he was a great this and that and third.
Right.
And I was like, but you know, I remember high school like, fuck you, man, Hitler's a piece of shit. But then like when I was thinking about it, like I don't know why later, and like it was in college when I'm just like was looking at something else, and I was like,
light bulb.
I was like, that nigga did have a point. I'm like, look at this man. Like you would like, you know, I think I might have been watching like a documentary or something, and you see Hitler, and he's, even if you are stoking the fires of the dump, like I'm like, this nigga is like, can get, you know, even if you are like tapping in people's base, more evil fucking sentiments, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. But I just think Deshaun, I'm biased because I'm black, so I can see like
Right.
you've heard these things said more eloquently. So I'm like, I know where you were headed.
Right.
I just, you know, man, it's okay to it's okay to put the training wheels on. Like you don't gotta just, I got a bike. Like
Let's ride.
Yeah, he like, that nigga said, I'm gonna go off a hill right now. Goddamn it! It was like, man, you could have just rode around the block a couple times
Right.
first.
Like warm up, get a sweat going. Let some people know that you out there before you start doing some dangerous shit.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was all the Farrakhan like comparisons, but it's like, okay, man, like they, you know, Farrakhan do get up there and be like, you know, he'll be like, here's the facts, and then Farrakhan will be like, also I brought my axe because I just tired of you motherfuckers. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
Farrakhan does kind of, well, even if the information is right, Farrakhan will get good and it'll get good to him, so it'll give them the avenue. He's an asshole, he's evil, he doesn't like us, and I'm like, y'all just gonna completely disregard what he said because he did get, he got buck at the end. So,
But he's also somebody that has been doing it for decades. Deshaun had one moment.
yeah, I would never turn anybody away from getting informed. It
At
just,
all.
there's nothing that says you got to say, I'm informed and I need to fire it out right now. I understand that urge though. Like, I understand the urge of, holy shit, like this completely changes my whole perspective. That's amazing.
Right.
Just, you know, have some conversations with your close friends first and then build on it. And then you fucking upload it to the internet for the world. But other than that, I just, so.
If worse come to worse, if you feel like posting something, ask a question as context. That way people don't assume that you're saying something or doing something. Just like, hey, here's some information. What do you think about it? And just kind of let people go from there and maybe debate you on it so they don't think that you're being anti whatever the fuck you're posting on. Because there's somebody that's going to get triggered. I mean, not that it really matters. You can get triggered. But again, when you don't have fuck you money, you got to be careful who you're triggering.
Or just be prepared for it. I just feel like he said that and just still wasn't prepared for like, okay, I'm going to say this. This community, the Jewish community, is going to get mad at me. I need to be able to preface what I said. And I feel like when it came, he just was like, shit. Because, you know, if you just start now, you was on, like, your answer to whatever they firing off might have been in chapter 5.
Right.
But you only posted a quote from chapter 2.
Right.
So just, that's all.
So switching gears within that conversation, to kind of shoot Deshaun some bail, why do we have to preface what we're saying when it pertains to the Jewish community or the LGBTQ community? Like, some people can say whatever they want when they want to say it and they don't have a backlash for it, but for some reason we can't speak ill or seem to speak ill or against or out of favor of or whatever you want to call it in. We can't seem to say certain things about certain groups of people without them being triggered by it and it being an issue of repercussion for us. Why is that?
I would say that it kind of, all these conversations we've been having in the past couple weeks kind of tie in, is that those communities have sway or power in certain areas where these people live. Like Deshaun, football, whatever you want to call it, he's an entertainer. People
Right.
who control all these entertainment spaces are in those communities. So, like I said, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but you kind of have to be, which is kind of on us to be able to also facilitate a base for our own, because it's like, if you're going to say these things, that, you know, other people can say whatever they want. Like, you can say things that technically piss us off until, like, last week. People were saying all types of shit. You said you apologize, you sit on your ass for a couple weeks, then you back out rolling because your community is going to support you. They're going to be like, you know, you made a mistake and blah, 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 blah. We haven't set that up for us, and so we are still in a mode of asking. And I feel like that's why, I mean, that to me, that's the only reason why you really got to take a back seat. Because anything else, you should be able to say what you want to say, especially if you know, have grounds and like a platform of like, no, nigga, this is a thing that's set on actual facts. I'm not just saying this because fuck y'all. It's not just this group of motherfuckers ain't shit. If you, and also everybody does take things as hate. If you're having a conversation about honest discourse about certain facts, that's one thing. And people should be able to kind of tell between, I don't know, that gets into a conversation about people's motives for conversation, because it's like, oh, you're being offended because you don't want to have like a real conversation, as opposed to this person's preaching hate speech. So that's kind of, it's a couple things. I don't know if that's,
but whose fault is that? Like, if you don't want to have a real conversation about something and address an actual fact, is that my fault because you don't want to have that conversation? Because you're saying it's hate speech when it's really not hate speech. I'm presenting a fact, but you're upset at the fact because it's counter to what you believe or want to accept. So is that really hate speech?
Oh, no, it's not really hate speech. It's just
so
that the ones
why
who,
do I get the backlash for that?
I would say because at least as it stands now, which kind of I would say is where he might have been heading with that, is the people or groups or whatever are in positions of power to take things away. So it's hate speech because we deem it so, because we got the power to deem it so.
Another way of looking at that, if you are in a position of power to take a fact and turn it into hate speech because you don't like it or don't agree with it, doesn't that actually mean that you are the hateful person because you are suppressing my ability to speak an actual fact? Doesn't that mean that you might be expressing your hate through your power? You're not using words.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just half the shit that's going on now. Like, motherfuckers are mad about taking down statues and shit, and you see them in history books and their biographies on the actual statues of, this person is somebody who used amazing tactics in battle and he's remembered. This was a person who slaughtered black people. This was, our founding fathers. Like, there's countless videos out now where it's like, you know, we praise them as the founding fathers. We praise them as the ones who started this country. We praise them as the ones who, I don't know, blah, 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 freedom. These are all niggas who were slave owners. These are rapists, killers, fucking George Washington wearing slave teeth. Like, so, so it's those in power in this particular setting. And it's hateful. They're like, oh no, don't pull the veil out, nigga. You gonna fuck up my whole get down.
Right.
So that's kind of.
But your whole get down is what's oppressed me and kept me down. So do I give a fuck about your get down? Oh, no, because your get down is your hatred that really I'm trying to speak up against.
But that's how you get. I think that's how we get into things now, which it's talked about. You know, as usual, things kind of like are waves up, wave down. But that's how you get these hollow gestures of, we're going to take down the statues. We're going to make sure that black people, or only black people voice black characters. We're going to, put, nice paint in the streets, even though niggas can't have that because Karen will get mad about it. But we're not going to do like, oh, you guys have, we're going to really discuss how this entire industry, insert whatever industry, is really, really profitable and really, really this. But we've never really had access to power in this, but there's a bunch of families and a bunch of so on and so forth that have been big wig motherfuckers for like the last 50 years, but they got there off of terrible racist practices. So
and are getting funded for it.
Yeah. So this is, what is the truth? Like, where's the change that matters?
Right. So
like shit like that. And they're like, whoa, nigga, whoa, you gonna fuck with my power. Like, I like power. I like sprinkle. Like, I like, being like, some of this shit is where it feels like you want to feel altruistic, so it makes your guilt go down, but it's not genuine. I want to do the right thing.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Because doing the right thing means I have to relinquish some of my power.
Yep.
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to give up some sort of power or have a power struggle, especially when you're having a power struggle with somebody that you're keeping out of power, even though they are kind of more powerful than you, if they figured that out at some point.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, you can't, and you can frame anything that makes you feel bad or offends you. You can frame that as like hate speech. That way, you can. It's a manipulation tactic, so you can have a lock on information. Because if I say this information, but this information is considered hateful, then it never like sees the light of day. But no, I'm saying facts. But if you put a weird fucking thing on facts, like facts are fucking evil, then it's like, oh, you're being hateful. No, I'm not. I didn't say like I shit on y'all. I didn't say like I hate y'all. But what I'm saying is, this happened, and you are benefiting off of this happening.
Right.
And this happening has set up this, and this for you. But it has also set up this, and this for me. And all I'm doing right now is discussing it, and which is the true, it's going to happen, but you're mad that once I discuss it and I lay it all out there, then it's going to come a conversation of, okay, now bridge the gap. And they be like, whoa, nigga, I want to bridge. I know exactly where it is. I don't want to
bridge the gap at all, because, you know, me being able to play the victim, even though I'm the one in a position of power, is kind of beneficial for me right now.
It's beneficial. And it's the same thing, you know, and it gets to a level of a selfishness that I don't necessarily like disagree with, because I understand it, but it's like I'm looking out for mine. Like it just like, you know, and it kind of I feel like that sometimes, I guess, kind of falls back on us, because we still kind of try to approach things as, and this is not like a shot to anybody, like if you can be inclusive, then be inclusive, but yeah, but everybody else it's just not like that. We the only ones showing up to the party open arms. Everybody else got swords and fucking shit behind their back. And it's like, okay, man, like, it's not to say we got to, but we should bring our own.
Right. And then if we get mad and people that came with their weapons start stabbing us in the back and we push somebody off and slap them, then we are looked at as somebody that's the aggressor, even though we are really defending ourselves. It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like how oppression works, like systematically. That's kind of what it does. Like when you stick up for yourself, something tries to make itself look like the victim, even though it's clearly in the wrong historically. But what do we know? We're just
a lot,
podcast.
actually.
we're just a podcast, right?
It's a good amount of just, and I ain't even talking us. I'm just talking like people out there. Like it, you know. I'm not, and I don't even like. I like to challenge people. Like, don't just believe what I say, like, or what anybody fucking says. I just feel like if you're honestly looking for truth and betterment of cultures of people, I've done research myself to be like, oh man, fuck this motherfucker. I don't like that. That nigga's wrong. And then I'm going actively to prove this motherfucker wrong. And then I do the research. That motherfucker was 197% correct. I just like 97. And I have to go, all right, man. So
I was wrong.
You
said, you did the research, and sometimes doing the research means that you read a book, like Deshaun did.
Fuck, man.
Then you post said research that you did, that you didn't create yourself. You just opened a book, and then you showed the page on a screen because you did research to try to edify yourself, and you're wrong. You're wrong for doing research to better yourself.
What was that? Even the clip you sent me, I forgot bro's name on the show for the football show, fucking ESPN show, whatever. He was
Marcellus Wiley show.
Yeah,
the guy that was speaking on, I think, like Uncle.
And he made a good point, because I'm not even of the mindset to not, in the words of every nigga's grandfather, you know, you gonna get your licks. Like if you did some dumb shit, you need to get your licks.
Right.
But, and I would say this for both sides, and it takes people to, I'm not a cancel culture person, so everything I would say is kind of case by case, and understand that there are mistakes, and then there's enough bigots out here and just evil motherfuckers to just go, that's an evil motherfucker, and then there are enough motherfuckers who are making mistakes. I just feel like somebody should be able to get their licks. He did the analogy where, you know, there's first degree murder, second degree murder, third degree murder, or whatever, manslaughter. If Deshaun is in manslaughter range, then give him that, and he deserves all the ridicule and all the shit in the world. But so many, you know, actor after actor or whatever after whatever, repeat offenders, these motherfuckers be getting shit that should be a flat out 100% first degree staunch pre-planned murder charge, and they be like, he just let him. So fuck that. I really believe. I know it looks as biased as it looks, but I think Deshaun really was like, because a lot of these dudes, I feel like if you're an athlete or if you're in the, like, you're a young dude, you get thrown into all this fun and shit. And these niggas you just don't do all of this research. You're in a league, you're in what I would say, as they've shown, one of the leagues that damn near requires you to capitulate.
The most racist league.
Yeah, so it's like you might be even amongst your own peers like, hey, bro, don't even do that shit. So it might take you longer to really learn and research. You might want to, and in the back of your mind, you know, you probably kick up some shit, but you know, if I kick up this shit, it's gonna really make it hard for me to exist in the spaces that I move. So I'm not gonna do it now, and I might not do it ever. But with all this shit going on, Deshaun fucked around and was like, and I'm taking liberties. I don't know this nigga, so but knowing him, he might have fucking just said, "Oh shit, I found some shit out," and it moves you. You can't, unless you just are a suck ass nigga, or you know, you Terry Crews or somebody like that. I'm not getting off this nigga's head ever. You might look at it and go, it's not the same. But if you got any type of fucking whatever within you, like fucking genuine virtue, like you go, damn, this is terribly wrong. I need to. And now that nigga might go, okay, I would say just, if we're looking to make, like you said before, just decent people in any space, take the time to go, is this a real, you know, evil act or a fuck up? Because you might shun somebody who is, I feel like, you know, don't allow him not to learn, because he might become a fucking expert on Jewish culture or whatever. But
I would say, with that thought, so we, as a community, we backed Kaepernick when he stood against something and presented some information and stayed in it.
Mm-hmm.
As a black community, how should we approach Deshaun, especially given that he didn't stand in it? He kind of backtracked. Like, do we support him through his backlash, or do we let him take his licks? Do we try to educate him? Do we support him?
I don't think any of those things have to be necessarily separate. Like, the people who gonna give him his licks, they're gonna give him his licks. Like, that community is gonna jump on that ass the same way we would jump on a motherfucker ass for saying some shit, and then they can educate. And I would say, if you know, people around him or who have access to him or whatever, like, educate him. It's like, yo, you said some shit, you jumped out the window a little bit. Now I see where you were headed. Now let me help you get to where, you know what I'm saying? Let me help you get there. Like, I feel like this is where you were trying to go, and he might be like, oh yeah, that's what I was, whatever. So now let me help you get here. You do both. Like, you're not gonna hide him from the licks. Like,
right.
They're angry, and those who feel like what he said is, they, you know, justifiably so or whatever.
But should he get the licks? If he's somebody that's trying to learn something, and he's presenting that information, and he's letting you know, like, this is something that I learned, this is where I learned it from. Clearly, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just getting to know some new information. Does he really deserve to get licks for trying to edify himself, as opposed to being somebody that is supposed to be educated in these situations, and they still show you they don't give a fuck, or they let you know what their stance is?
I think it depends on the variety of licks. Like, I think the conversations now, I think them maybe being mad, him having this uproar for the past couple days, I think that's considered, like, that's hard. Like, you know, that's a lick, so to speak. So I think that, I don't think, you know, now if they're trying to say, take his money, cut him from the team and all that shit, like, no, that's over the top. But having the conversation like we're having now, I feel like this in and of itself is to have people, like, as we're doing, this is still prying and doing a whole lot of shrum on this nigga's life and opinion.
Right.
That to me is a form of, God damn, man, my motherfucking name in motherfucker's mouth. Okay, you took your lick. Like, people are, you know, examining and doing all this other shit. To me, that's it. And if, you know, he came back and said, like, this apology, which publicly, I feel like that's kind of, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's probably embarrassing, to say the least. And depending what situation you are saying it in, demoralizing on a whole nother level, depending on whatever the situation is. Every day he does it on purpose. Like, they really,
He brought friends today.
yeah. I just feel like if you a fan, my G, because I know you listening, you could come in. We could talk about bikes. I don't know shit about bikes. I'm interested. You could just tell me about it. Like, just whatever. Pop a wheelie in this bitch. Anyways,
Whether it's Saturday or Thursday, he's...
man, very dedicated. But I would say, yeah, I guess it depends on what is people's, like, version of, he needs to get whatever. Like, if you just look for retribution or whatever, I feel like it takes, once again, a context conversation. Because
Now, will that work is my question. Because normally when somebody says something out of pocket, we try to be somewhat empathetic and say, they need to be educated, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This situation is happening because somebody is trying to educate themselves.
True.
In the midst of trying to educate somebody, you have to present truth.
Mm-hmm.
If what he is presenting is a truth, that means you have to accept what he said in order to help educate him in a different perspective. Because, like, so say I saw the response to what he said from Julian Edelman, who is my college teammate. Both of these individuals I know. Sidebar. I didn't even know Julian was Jewish until, like, I played next to you. I've been out to the club with you, the whole 9 yards. I didn't know you were Jewish until you made it pro. So now in a situation where you're speaking out for your culture, your heritage, your religion, whatever the case is, and I champion that. Just in case you saw this, Juju, I do support you. But I also support Deshaun because these are two different cultures, and we're just sharing facts. So if you want to be able to educate somebody on your perspective, you have to be willing to see theirs as well.
True.
If you're not willing to see theirs, then how can there be an education presented? How can there be an enlightenment? Because, say, for instance, within this situation, the Jewish community is not going to want to hear anything that he's saying, and he's presenting you with the written document. I'm not spewing hate speech. I just presented written document, and you're already upset about it. So how can we educate one another? Because clearly my perspective is somewhat valid. Your perspective is somewhat valid. We both have two different realities. How do we approach that really?
That
Exactly.
I feel like that has to always end up being like a person-to-person thing, because groups, regardless of your group, it just doesn't seem like they always can get on the same page, or groups need, I don't know, like this real aggressive or, you know, maybe like a negative thing to latch onto together. But individually, it should be a conversation of, like you just said, like, we have different perspectives. This is the issue, and this is how my perspective on it is. But I feel like he's going to get hit over the head with, you know, it's always a negative shit, like anti-Semitism, you're
right.
racist, you're this, you're that. But his perspective is, I'm not saying F this group of people. I'm saying that this group of people has had an impact on a negative impact on my people
right.
in this particular way, and I would like to have this discussion.
Right.
But people have to be coming into it to have that discussion. If you keep getting hit with, you're trying to shit on this group of people as or whatever and persecute us, that's not what, like, if so it's on the other side to want to have an honest, open dialogue about it and move towards change, which kind of becomes like the issue, because
He requires you to be accountable.
that, like, accountability, openness, perspective, context, all these things
Are required for effective communication.
and people don't want to do
And
that.
we don't have that. So that's why we can't communicate worth shit.
Yeah, people want to come in and be like, this is my version of it. This is my version of what you did. And then you're going to, like, you know, you're going to feel how I feel about what you feel. And you're going to pay.
Right.
And it'd be like, what if that person might, some things obviously I think are very black and white. You did that, you killed this person, you whatever. Some of these things, especially, and I feel like even with any celebrities, well, not any celebrity, let me backtrack, but a lot of celebrities I think are just ignorant to a lot of facts. They live in their bubbles. So it's not to give them a pass, but it's to, and I feel like to me sometimes it saves us, it saves the person, because there's a lot of mental strain on if I'm angry this shit is every day, multiple
Right.
times a day. I don't got time to be mad, angry, upset, whatever the fuck, all day, every day. So you need to be able to kind of develop, you know, the skill set to go, okay, you know, very stoic-y shit. I need to control what I can control. I need to be able to kind of access and, you know, just divvy up, okay, like, is this a real important thing to fuck up my day? Oh, another stupid white person says, this is over here. Like, I know that they exist. I know that they're racist and racist shit. Is this fucking Susan who works at Kmart? Fuck that bitch. Is this such and such a fucking senator that has, okay, we should pay attention to this and not scream at my fucking phone, but now I need to vote, or now I need
Right.
to whatever. Like, have these things, but have, you know, your brain and your heart are supposed to be a team. So we need to be able to, okay, you got 80% control today. Like, your heart, you need to take it back. So you need to, you know, turn it down or whatever. Like, you have to attack these things properly, like the appropriate way, I would say.
So for him, putting yourself in his shoes when the person that you have to be mindful of is the person that is in charge and in control of the avenue of which you make your money.
You use the examples that have been provided you. Like I would, I look towards a Kaepernick. I'm gonna go back and even sit down with it. If I'm in the league, I'm gonna go back and sit down with Jim Brown. I'm gonna go and see if, on some just, hey bro, I need to have some understanding shit. I'm gonna go sit down with some Marshawn Lynch, who got up there on stage and said, you niggas need to, you niggas need to keep your money. Like, you need to figure out you're here for a good time, not a long time.
Right.
Pack this shit up and be able to keep, like, the idea is I'm gonna pool as much of this money in that I can, or resources and all this other shit, and then I'm gonna be able to have this autonomy. That's the whole point. If I'm in the league 45 seconds, I'm gonna rake up as much as I can in this 45 seconds so that I can become non-dependent on them.
Right.
Like, niggas in any professional league, basketball seems to have more levity than football, but in all of these spaces, entertainment, back to you, Terry Crews, nigga, like. Like, you niggas, like, they just, and like, well, we are in an entertainment space, and I want this to grow as big as it can be. But I also want to grow in a space where I can control my destiny. Like, you can control how you move. If you put yourself in a position where they are in control of your whatever, then you fuck from jump. You just a high paid boy.
So I agree with that, and I say, that's why it's good timing for him saying what he's saying, or presenting we keep saying him saying what he said when he didn't say anything. He just presented fact or presented literature. So with the literature that he presented, I say it's good timing because he's also somebody that's kind of at the end of his career. He's been in the league for damn near double digits.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, does it really matter the repercussions of what you're saying? Because you name people that had a fuck you attitude, like Jim Brown, Kaepernick, Muhammad Ali. These are people that were like, no, I'm standing up for my culture. This is fact. Fuck you. If you don't like it, I'm taking a stance. For him, somebody like, I got what I needed. I have my money. I'm really only still playing because I enjoy playing, but I know that I'm not the super elite athlete that I was a few years ago. I really can walk away with this and still make money.
Mahomes deal,
right. No, not like I'm at the end of my career and I've made a good amount of money and had a respectable career. I think I can swing my dick a little bit and say what the fuck I want to. And if something happens, we're not going to let you back in the league. Bitch, I only had 2 years left anyway, so does it really matter? And I'm battling back from an injury, so I may not even get to play this year because of COVID. So this might be the perfect time. My issue with that is, not to cut you off, my issue with that is because of that timing, that's the perfect time not to backtrack. So that's my issue with you, Deshaun.
Yeah.
Don't backtrack. If you feel like this is something that you're learning and you want to present this information and you want to create a conversation about it, great. Those of us that know the information or know you or understand the timing right now, know that you're not trying to be anti anything. You're not trying to hate on this particular group of people. You're really just sharing information that you're learning, which there's nothing wrong with that. But don't backtrack because the powers that be have control over you when really that control is going to be relinquished quite soon. Just stand firm in your shit.
Yeah, like I'm all for. I don't like terms like I'm not exactly for cleaning something up because I feel like if you had a good statement, then you might have said it crudely. You can clarify,
right?
You can expound on it, but I don't like some of these terms like clean up because sometimes I feel like that gives people you take away people's responsibility to. You need to comprehend that better. Like you're going out of your way, and this is for any group of people, black, white, fucking whatever.
Especially us.
Yeah, you're going out of your way to fucking misconstrue what that person said. Because that's I'm talking about this at length probably another time. But sometimes I feel like we do that. We have a lot of big issues, and we'll be like, this motherfucker at the whatever, beat their ass and go. Like that's not. I'm not finna. We not doing too much. Pop that motherfucker in the chest.
And go about your business.
Like, give him a couple to the chin and then go on. Like
there is no cleanup because I flipped this fucking table over for a reason.
Yes.
So why am I cleaning up something when I'm trying to shake the foundation in the first place? I'm not cleaning up shit.
Yep.
look at this mess that I made, and maybe you'll be willing to understand my perspective, and we can have a conversation about it. Until then, fuck you and this mess.
9 times out of 10, when I flip the table, I'm finna leave the building anyway. I don't want to come back here.
I'm not gonna flip it and then say, well, nah, fuck this. I'm flipping this bitch over and then I'm walking out. And if you don't like it, you can either come and talk to me about it, or you can just look at this mess and deal with it, and I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, I think there just has to be more of, I'm over it. I don't give a fuck. Like even you said, like at the end of your career, he's at the end of his career. Granted, he, set himself up properly. You just kind of, we have to change, I would say, our perspective, our priorities. I would never tell anybody to not, maximize or try to become the best in their field.
Right.
But I think niggas sometimes be like, oh, I didn't win. The fucking, I don't got a championship under my belt. I don't want to, ruffle any feathers. Cause, and this is not saying this is him, but like,
right.
I didn't make enough money, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. You have an opportunity to live this amazing experience for however long you fucking have had time to access it. There's something to be said about, and I know it sometimes comes across, and even to me when I say it out loud, it sometimes sounds, I don't know, like, not necessarily nerdy, but like foregone. Like I feel like we've talked about before, like the concepts of like honor and like fucking being a virtuous person and having, like, I stand on all 10, nigga. That don't just mean that you like, that's not a statement to say you stared up and you beat somebody.
Right.
You were a person of principle. You were a man of principle. And I think sometimes, that don't mean you don't fuck up. That don't mean you don't make mistakes. But
right.
To a degree, like, you were supposed to be this virtuous person and you're supposed to have these standards. And I feel like niggas just get caught up in bullshit, whether it's money, it's ego. And I think a lot of things I think is ego. I think ego gets misinterpreted as, these are my virtues. Nah, nigga, that is your lowest self,
right,
taking up all the room in the fucking building. Like, just saying, that's pride, that's ego. And I'm not even saying you don't have those moments, but at least have the ability to recognize what's what. And however long it takes you, 6 minutes to 6 months, but at least understand, like, that's what did this. That's not you standing on all 10. That's you fucking being a fuck.
Right. That's you actually being hypocritical. Because standing on all 10 means that you're going to stand firm in whatever, regardless of what the repercussion is, regardless of what you stand to lose or sacrifice. If it's something that means something to you and it's something that's going to provide a better avenue, you're doing it regardless of the circumstances. If the circumstances arise on level 1 and you backpedal already, that means you're not standing firm in your shit. You're not standing 10 toes down. You was really standing there on a pinky toe.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's us on a variety of levels, like we spoke about before. If you're going to shake the table, or flip the table, or whatever fucking analogy we're using, there's going to be a backlash. If I flip the table, I know that this is going to fall on the floor. This is going to make a mess. That person's going to get mad. This manager's going to scream. I want that. I know that so I just feel like we can't tiptoe in it. If you're going to do it, then you stand in it. And that's, nigga, bob, weave, put your fucking, put your fists up, get hit. Like, but, there's just bumps that will be taken for this.
Right.
So whatever it is, if you want to inform, if you want to be out in the streets, kicking motherfuckers in the ass, all of that shit, it all
sounds good. But I mean, we're also speaking about people that are like multiple tax brackets ahead of us.
Well, man, I don't know, man, because I know this might be my lofty ideal, but I watch the David Banners, I watch all these fucking people who are just like
doing what we can do.
I watch the Killer Mikes and all of these people who are making their own way and saying what the fuck they want to say. The Charlemagnes, like the Charlemagnes.
Right. I mean, he's not as rash as he was when he first started, but yes, he's made a way for himself being able to.
Yeah, I mean, and even like him stoking the fires of conversations that are like, niggas be like, what the fuck?
Right. Speaking of stoking fires, this song talking about burning shit down. We're gonna play that. Not this time, but it's going to creep on the podcast at some point. Just so you know,
I'm gonna still give you niggas some of this hot Clifford because you niggas just are disrespectful.
Just so you know. So those are our opinions for the day. If you don't like it, you can tune in on Saturday.
And
maybe you'd hear something different.
And get some more. I'm gonna just get some more. Like I'm gonna fuck with
put the fire on it. Let it burn.
This was just this is romance, nigga. So that's it. Another Thursday episode. Double up for the Good News Network, man. I don't know, man. Tune in on Saturday. That'll be 3:30 to 4:30. Fucking shoot us some black-owned businesses, man. We still are doing our giveaway. That's $400, man. We're giving away.
You still have a few weeks to nominate people.
We are buying $400 worth of your stuff. So, fucking black-owned businesses, apparel. We want shirts, hats, drawers, socks, whatever the fuck. Give it up. Tell us about it. And then, I don't know, man. Do some pussy pumper shit. All right, see y'all.
What's your name on vision station? Asking me what's a pussy pumper, want a demonstration, but I ain't waiting.